Finding the joystick that fulfills your playstyle can be quite the long journey. I tried plenty of Sama mods, I tried a Summetsu stick, I tried a Hori Hayabusa, and throughout my journey, I figured out that the pivot and spring combo just isn't my taste. I can be satisfied with one if I really wanted to, but it just didn't make me feel good right here, you know? So I tried a Korean stick, and by my surprise, a Korean stick ended up being a lot more my preference. Maybe because it's the constantly tensioned directions, maybe because it's the silicone and rubber grommets that return back to neutral smoothly, maybe because it's the circle gate, maybe because it's the long throw. For whatever reason, Korean sticks ended up becoming my preference. And as you can probably tell by the title of this video, we're gonna be talking about Korean sticks, and I actually have 4 of them here with me today. The first one we'll be talking about is the 309 MJ. The second one is gonna be the 303 Dongpao, which actually is sent over by Arcade Shock. They wanted me to check this out for a review, so if you guys could take a chance, just go ahead and check them out. They have great stuff for arcade sticks and stuff, and they support the FGC, and they just do great things, man. They just do great things. The third one I'm gonna be checking out is the 309 Help Me, which is the big brother to the 309 MJ, and the fourth one being the Myeongshin Fanta, which is funny because pretty much all these sticks are based on that stick alone, the Myeongshin Fanta. Well, not the Myeongshin, the Taeyong, but saying that word completely wrong every single time I have to say it. So it's gonna be, we have the all right, now that that's out of the way, let's roll that intro. So warning, just before I get into this, from what I understand, some of these sticks may have changed when you receive them. Some of them may come with different grommets and may not have return springs. So when I received mine, I'm showing them in the way I received them, and they may change of when you actually get yours. But they do share relatively the same parts. Just keep that in mind. Let's get into it. Before diving into this, I want to talk about the general design of a Korean lever, so I don't end up repeating myself between each stick. Korean levers may use a rubber, latex, or silicone grommet for tension and resistance throughout its range of motion. Unlike a spring and pivot combo that relatively has equal tension throughout all of its range, the grommet is soft enough in the center for small movements, but builds more tension the farther you move the lever, such as a diagonal. The way I think about it is, say if you put your finger in, say, a rubber band, and you move your finger inside the rubber band freely, there's no tension, up until you try to stretch that rubber band to a certain point, which you're gonna get the snapback that returns to its original form. I don't know how, but I did that dank-ass analogy in one take! The tension built from that farther movement is what helps the lever return to neutral faster. K-levers may share a similar design, but alter the design to fit the players looking for a specific feel or playstyle. Now that that's over, let's go ahead and talk about these levers. The Crown 309 MJ is one of the fastest and easiest ways to get in Korean sticks. It shares the same mounting system as a Sanwa JLF, allowing it to be plug and play. Like I mentioned earlier, the collar used in this is a circle gate, but the one on this lever is considered a short collar, allowing it to be installed in Japanese fight sticks. The majority of the crown levers come with translucent bat tops, which come in different colors and is decently weighted. The grommet used in this lever is the least tension grommet in the crown series, accompanied by a return spring, a 16mm actuator, and A3 Gersung switches. This tension setup allows for fast and easy movement while allowing minimal effort for corners. At times, I do feel it can be too light, which I tested in this super ultra scientific test that I did very scientifically. Yeah. I felt this the most doing backdash cancels in Tekken. After doing my back then down back and waiting for it to go back to neutral, it would either not return to neutral as fast as I thought, or I would interrupt it by touching the joystick, resulting in getting 2 inputs rather than the input, the neutral, and then the input again. But this isn't a big deal because you can just change out the grommet for a more tension one. Me personally, I like a little more tension on my joystick, so that's probably why I just anticipated too early for the input. If you're looking for your first starter Korean stick, the 309 MJ would definitely be a good choice. This is pretty much due to it being super easy to install for a first-time user and being loose enough where it won't alienate people coming from different styled levers or joysticks. Next up is the 303DX, aka the Crazy Dongpao, still quite the name. Anyway, this lever comes with a medium tension grommet, does away with the return spring, and comes with a smaller actuator. The smaller actuator makes corners a little more tighter, resulting in more effort required to hit a corner. This change also slightly affects neutral, as the smaller actuator doesn't stay consistently tensioned by the switches. For example, the 309 MJ, when it returns to neutral, relatively settles pretty quickly. As compared to the 303 DX, there's more ricochet. From this brief description alone, you could tell this isn't really geared toward a newcomer, unless you're looking for something unique right off the bat. The plus side of these changes increase the accuracy in all directions due to actuator size being able to avoid misinputs and activate switches when the player only really intends to. So if you want to try something a little different, then the 303 DX might be for you. These next levers require some modification for those of you playing on a Japanese fight stick. There are some sticks out there that already accommodate this kind of design, so modifying isn't the only way to utilize these levers. The opening for a Japanese joystick are about a 24mm, whereas the collar design needs a 35mm in order for it to fit. So if you never messed with power tools or don't have any experience with them, I would advise to get some help. You will need an electric drill and a 35mm step-up bit to get things started. First, clear out everything out your fight stick so there's nothing inside, and if you have a plexi panel and artwork, remove them as well. Set the drill bit in the hole, giggity, and take your time. Once you get to the 35mm mark, grab your lever and test fit it to make sure there's no tight spots. If there are, massage the hole to smooth out the imperfections until the lever goes in and out smoothly. Congratulations, you can now fit a 309 Help Me or a Moishin Fanta. For those of you who have a plexi panel, do not use the same metal bit. It will more than likely break it. Look for a 35mm glass cutting bit. Mount the plexi back up with the buttons as well so it can keep it centered, and then slowly cut the plexi. If you have artwork as well, bust that X-Acto knife out or whatever it is you need to cut the hole. Now you're finished, and now we can talk about these levers. The 309 Help Me comes with two main differences from the 309 MJ, even though they share the same design language. The Help Me comes with the medium tension grommet and the obviously more pronounced collar. Oh wait, I lied. It has a longer throat. After playing on the Help Me, it made me realize I do prefer the medium tension grommet over the lighter grommet that's found in the MJ. Other than the difference in grommets, the other difference was the feeling in the collar, until I learned Elise's instant dive kick, because you have to do the down forward, do a half circle until you hit the forward, and then do the input. With the more pronounced collar, it's a lot easier to replicate the half circle due to the nature of the more pronounced collar. But other than that, the feelings between both can be quite similar. For whatever reason, I do feel more confident on the Help Me stick, but it could be a placebo effect or just personal preference. I would recommend trying both if possible, but if you want a more authentic Korean lever to start with, then the Help Me may be your choice. The Moishin Fanta sets itself apart from the Crown series by opting for a rubber grommet, which feels a lot smoother compared to its snappier Crown counterpart, but still has a good amount of tension. The switches on this lever are Gersung A2s, which are known to be lighter than the A3s and a little quieter. The Fanta's bat top has a glossy plastic finish, which isn't the grippiest, but overall is lighter than the Crown's bat top. Aside from the feeling of the Fanta's rubber grommet, the most notable difference will be the longer throws throughout the range of the lever. This could be due to the fact that the Fanta has the rubber grommet being a lot smoother of feeling, but having the more sensitive A2 switches compared to the Crown, where it has the more snappier silicone grommet with the more tension A3 switches. This would definitely be one of those moments to try both and see which one fits your preference. As for comparing the tension for the rubber grommet, it does feel similarly close to the medium tension grommet for the Crown, but it does feel a tad bit higher. Not quite the red grommet, but definitely a little bit higher than the medium. I talked to many people about the Moishin Fanta, and the general response was it offers one of the most authentic Korean experiences you can get without going straight to an original Taeyong Fanta, which this was actually based off of, and a lot of these in this roundup are. All in all, if you're looking for a smoother feeling lever with a bit of tension and prefer longer throws, then this lever may fit your playstyle. So for the next portion of the video, I want to talk about just general things to look out for when you're installing a Korean lever in a fight stick. For example, So when you're putting a Korean lever in, or just a lever in general in, there's actually a little spacer plate, or just like a plate that's usually welded at the bottom, normalizes the height of the joystick itself. On this TRF fight stick, it actually doesn't have it. The problem with this is the short collared 309 MJ and the crazy Dong Pal, when I put it in this fight stick after I cut the hole, even though I put the helmet in, but I'm gonna get to that in a second, it sat flush with the fight stick deck. It was kind of weird to play on, and then when I did put my 309 helmet or the Fanta in, it was about 2 times as high as it is now, so I would rest my hand on the deck, and I actually had to have my hand up a little higher than I'm normally used to. That could be a pro or con depending on who you are, but for me personally, I kind of like how I have it at the moment. A way for me to fix this, if it doesn't have the spacer thing that I mentioned before, put some small nylon spacers that I got from like Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever, just put them in between the mounting plate and the lever itself. Yeah, that's just something to keep in mind. Let's move on to the next thing. You probably noticed I didn't talk about wiring the lever at all, because there's actually a .187 connector that adapts to the Sama JLF connector, and you just plug them right in together and makes the whole process that much easier. I would recommend going that way, but if your fight stick doesn't have that much room, the way the connectors sit on the switches on the bottom, they hit the inside of the fight stick, so I can't push it down all the way, so I had to bend the pins and then put them in together. It can be a problem because, you know, the more you bend it, the more likely it is to break. I soldered mine, so that way just the wire, you don't have a connector and then the harness itself. Up to you, man. It's up to you. You can get a conversion shaft to allow you to use a ball top on a Korean lever. And you wonder why that's chipped. One of the questions I get most frequently is if you can play 2D fighters on a Korean lever. I get why people get concerned because Korean levers are known to have a longer throw, but you don't have to utilize the full distance when it comes to actuating switches. But yes, it is gonna be a little harder to get used to when it comes to certain movements. I hate to say it, but there's no real solid answer. It's definitely gonna become something that you're gonna have to try for yourself. So now that we're getting ready to wrap this video up, there is one thing I want you guys to do before actually choosing any of these K-levers. Do your research. Hardest thing about doing a video like this is trying to convey my feelings between each K-lever for you guys to relate to when you actually pick one of these up. I also know there are gonna be some discrepancies between the ways I feel between each joystick from other people. So yeah. There's that. So I would highly recommend, you know, just watching other YouTube videos, getting into Facebook arcade stick groups or Discords, or just ask people who you know are actually playing on a K-stick and get their own opinion so you could form your own and find out which lever is right for you. The way I went about finding out what lever was right for me, I went to my Facebook groups, I went to my local Tekken group in this retro arcade stick group that I'm in, and asked pretty simple questions like 309 help me versus Fanta. And when you do something like that, you'll get a wide range of responses. You'll get people from the entire spectrum, the ones that'd be like crown or nothing, and you got Fanta or die, and then you have people who are just like JLF suck. But you'll get definitely a wide range of answers, and then you can pick and choose which ones you want to dissect, and you'll eventually find somebody who's willing to elaborate on why they chose this lever over the other, which may be the two choices that you may be conflicted on. There are 2 things I want to mention before I get out of here. I've been getting an influx on comments about what I'm going to be working on next and what's to come and what am I doing now. So follow me on Instagram. I do post just pictures and every so often of what projects I'm working on next. If you guys want to have an idea what's to come, then follow me on Instagram, and that's where you'll pretty much get an idea of what's to come in the future. Number 2, I will be at EVO 2019, but the cool part is I am going to be bringing spare parts with me. I'm going to have some things with me for sure to give out to people who recognize me and just talk fighting games. But I am going to be competing in Tekken 7, and I may be doing media as well. I'll plug my EVO 2018 coverage that I did last year, and if you guys want to check that out, go ahead and go for it. If you want to subscribe to my other channel as well, that's cool too. That's cool too. Thank you guys for watching. Hopefully this whole Korean lever educational-ish video made a little sense and gave you a better idea if you actually wanted to try K-lever for yourself. Thank you to Timothy Persault for helping me out with any advice or second opinions. He's a great modder in the arcade stick community. Also, thanks to you guys for giving me any feedback or comments about any of these levers that helped me form my own. There's only one thing I can say for Korean levers. It will make you a better player. Or you just wanted to try something new and be a scrub like me. Thank you guys for joining me again. Peace out. Until next time. Oh, by the way, thanks Arcade Shock for sending that crazy Dong Pal out for me, and they didn't form anything for me to say. They just sent it out to me for me to check out. So just wanted to leave that there. What the